Well, hey, good evening. Sorry for the choppy there-ness, folks. It's, we have technical issues sometimes. Things come up. My apologies, especially if you're over on Facebook wonder, hey, where the hell's Bill? Here I am. I promise everything's okay. It's good to see you all. Good to be here. Good to be seen by you all. How the heck is everybody on this Thursday evening? I'm doing just swell. So, now, as promised, there will be a shout out to the wonderful folks over on Patreon. Is it wonderful, Vincent? Because I don't know, because it looks jank to me. Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Lord Corion, greetings to you. But anyway, we'll hope that I can throw together a better streaming PC here in the not too distant future, yeah? Joshua Garlock, greetings. Good to see you. So we'll wait for the crowd to come in a little bit more before we jump right straight in to the supplement 1 Greyhawk goodness we have planned for the night. We are up to 800. That's right. 851 subs on the channel. Folks, 149, less than 150 more subs on the channel, and the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention is going to happen. And what is the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention, you may ask? Let me tell you what it is. It's a virtual con, because I don't think you guys are going to want to come to Florida just to game with 10 or 12 people. But, more importantly, if a whole bunch of you showed up, I don't have the room. However, we will still have a con, and it will be lots of fun. I will be running original Dungeons & Dragons, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, First Edition Gamma World, probably Twilight 2000, some Tales from the Loop, other games that folks asked me to run. It's all going to happen. And you guys are making it happen. We're 149 subs out from hitting 1,000. When we hit 1,000 subs, you're going to see some serious fun. That's what I say. John David's like, I would, yeah. So, you guys are making this happen. I can only put these streams out there and announce them in a few places, and then a few folks come in, and then they watch them, and then maybe they sub or they don't. If they catch me on a night when the tech is jank, or I have something ranty going, maybe I don't pick up any subs. But you guys going out there say, hey, go subscribe to the Delver's Dungeon. Go subscribe to the Delver's Dungeon on YouTube. Here's the link to the channel. Thank you so much. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. I absolutely appreciate it. And we're getting closer. We're getting closer and closer. And that's just an awesome thing. That's just a fantastic thing. Seeing 851 subs, that is stellar. Also, if you're just coming back to the channel, you haven't been here in a while, you haven't been here since I kicked off back on whatever day it was, Monday, I think. Did you know that you can support the channel now, even if you don't want to go get a bunch of your friends to play, whatever? You can support the channel now via Patreon. That's right. You can support me on Patreon if you like for as little as $1 a month. There's the link right there. Now, higher tiers, a little bit more to it, you know. And hey, if you don't want to, that's fine too. If you're like, I'm a little light right now, or I don't really do Patreon, or your videos are good, but paying for, I don't know. That's fine. I just like the fact that you're all here watching the videos. I really, really like it. I mean, this week, consistently, since Monday, I have had more people watching my live streams in single sessions than I have had ever in the past, with the exception of times when I would have guests on. And there will be more guests coming this year. Don't look, if you're out there and you're a friend of mine, you're somebody that I've been talking to about, oh, maybe I should have you on the show, and you haven't heard from me in a while, and you're thinking, oh, whew, thank God that threat's over. He's not pestering me about that. You just watch out. I'll get you on this show. Rich Denver, ask your doctor if Xylarthen is right for you, and support the Dungeon Delver on Patreon. I appreciate that. I really appreciate it. By the way, that beautiful Zeppelin-esque music that you hear in the intro, that's the guys over at Bards of Greyhawk. That's Jeremy. That's Rich. And I love it. It's absolutely fantastic. Oh, look, there's a Russian bot, everyone. Hi, Russian bot. Bye, Russian bot. I like having a big chat going, but it also moves slow enough that I can delete on spam bots, and that's fine. Side effects may include mummy rot, third-degree burns, and treasure-based injuries. That's right. Bards of Greyhawk. What did I say? Did I not say Bards of Greyhawk? I'm sorry. I just get so excited. But no, Bards of Greyhawk. I'm going to put that. You know what? I haven't shown you guys their logo in a while. Let me show you the Bards of Greyhawk. Where is it? There we go. Whoops. See, this is that quality jank. Right there. I'll put it in front of my face so it'll focus properly. Bards of Greyhawk. Oh, thank goodness, Rich. I was worried. I thought I was having a senior moment. I got I kid about that, but I got a letter from AARP today. That'll make you sweat. But anyhow. So yes, my friends over at Bards of Greyhawk made the fantastic intro music. I may do an outro one day. I may build an outro. But we'll have to see. How long did it take me to finally get off my ass and get the B-roll footage I shot of dogs months ago into a video? So there you have your answer on when that might happen. In Soviet D&D, Dungeon delves you. Soviet role-playing game has only one page of rules. On the back of it, it says, go back to the front and read those rules again. I don't know. That was funnier in my head. John David says, I only had the $5 level when I signed up. Are you planning on making a higher tier than Master Thief? Or should raise to that level now? Oh, I like that. The Association of Advanced Role Players. Yes, okay. That's what AARP stands for now. We're taking that from you, AARP. I'm stealing that. That's mine now. Oh, Chris. Oh, too soon? Is that too soon? So John David has a question though about Patreon. And by the way, if you're on Facebook, I'm experiencing all kinds of fun stupidity with Facebook. So I apologize if I'm missing any comments that you're leaving. Let me see if I can get it to, if I can. Let me see if I can get it to, if I can. Let me see if I can get it to, if I can. Let me see if I can get it to, if I can. So the question from John David, I had the $5 level when I signed up. Am I planning on making a higher tier than Master Thief, or should raise to that level now? That's up to you. Now, I may go higher than Master Thief. I'm not sure what I can offer you guys more than tiered videos and written adventures. I really don't know, and I would hate to promise you something that I can't deliver on. I would hate, I know, Ricky, it was Facebook, not me. I would hate to create a tier of stuff that I would have problems delivering on. I don't know what I could do for you guys. So if anybody has any, if there's something that like, yeah, if you raise this to $20, I would expect X. I'll take your suggestions. I will gladly take your suggestions. So yeah, just you let me know. You let me know. Ricky says, I'm playing, is that Hillsfar, Gateway to the Savage Frontier? I'm not sure if it's Hisfar. So right now, John David, the highest level and what will probably remain the highest level for a little while is Master Thief. So if you want to jump in at the Master Thief tier, you're going to be at the highest tier possible right now. So, but I mean, you can always support more. You can always pledge more than that amount. You can always pledge more. Hillsfar is one that I want to get back into. I actually had Hillsfar for my Amiga, but I couldn't get into it. I was heavy into flight sims on that machine, and I had it, and it just, at that time, my interest in D&D was kind of fallow, so it didn't really resonate with me that much. So that's, you know, I hope that answers your question. And speaking of questions, we've been playing original D&D for a year now. Yes, we have. We've been playing original D&D for a year now. We have found a local referee who has his massive dungeon, his house rules, his Elastalin figures that he breaks out sometime, plus some kit-bashed knights to play evil wizards and such. Rich says, I'm working on... Oh, buddy. Okay, you gotta... We've got to do like a watch party. I've got to get you guys like on the live stream when that video drops, and we'll do like a premiere. I tell you what, Rich Denver, right now, make a note. We could do a premiere, like a cross promo premiere. Wouldn't you guys like to see that? Al Hammock of TSR fame, creator of the, many of the, or at least a couple of the modules in the Slavers series. He edited Greyhawk. He's going to be in a video with the guys at, He's going to be doing a video with the Bards of Greyhawk guys, and wouldn't that be cool to watch that all together, to like have a watch party and enjoy that? I think it would. Rich, if you want to do that, you let me know. We'll make that happen. We will spread that all across the internet. We will get many butts in seats. And of course, we'll have to have Alan present also. And I know somebody else who's gonna want to be there. So Imperial Ramblings is a buddy of mine. We do a college football sports talk show. And he actually works in the same department of the state of Alabama government, or maybe it's a county in Alabama, as Alan Hammock. And he's been like, oh man, I'd really like to have lunch with him. Could you arrange it? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do what I can. Woohoo! All right. Alan Hammock's name is in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Yes, this is going to happen. This is the kind of awesomeness that you guys bring and that I'm able to bring to you. So we're going to have a debut of the Ghost Tower of Inverness. I'm going to reach out to Alan Hammock. Rich, you guys reach out to Alan Hammock. You pester him. You get him on the show. I'll get you guys on the show, and we will premiere that bad boy. We will live stream it. It'll be so much fun. It will be so much fun. So that's going to be cool. John David said, what's the cost of getting a brand new Bill Spivey adventure to print? That will be my pledge. I don't know. I'm not sure who Bill Spivey is. Bill Sylvie, however, will research the cost of printing up, of making a print copy of my adventures, PDFs to print, and I will get back to you on that. So let me know if you want to take that up to some exalted, rarefied air tier, and we'll go from there. Does that sound good? All right. That is awesome. You know, it's funny. I never hear from Justin, the other half of Bards of Greyhawk. One time I was on a conference call with Rich and I said Justin, I meant Jeremy, with Rich and Jeremy, and Rich is the guy out. It's okay, John. It's just messing with you. Rich is the guy who's out there, like the public face, the person that I see and I interact with and I talk to the most. And I know that what I'm about to say isn't true, but just the mental image is kind of funny. I wonder if poor Jeremy's like, man, I just want to play some rock and roll. You're putting all this D&D stuff in. You're asking me to play for all these nerds, dude. I just want to cover some Led Zeppelin songs at home at the local bar. Just kidding. Yeah, I know, Jeremy. The wizard behind the scenes. So he's behind the Dungeon Master screen. He's the one rolling the dice in the background. Awesome. From now on, I'm always going to say Bill Spivey. Well, let me tell you something. The last name Sylvie is apparently really, really difficult for people to get their heads around. And I will say, I know that, so there's 4 interesting Sylvie names. There is a Maggie Sylvie who was in the Video Nasty Extra. There is a Bill Sylvie who is a teacher in Australia. He's like the head of a school board or something in Australia. There is I went out, I spent like nearly a month in Seattle back in 1994, almost said 2004. Back in 1994, and I spent time with my buddy Jeff Johnson. When I got home, when I got back to Florida and checked the mail, there was a piece of physical mail for me from someone with the last name Sylvie who lived at that time in Seattle and was doing family tree search stuff and wanted to know if I had any relation to anyone in Seattle, and I'm like, if I had gotten this a month ago, I would have looked you, I would have gladly taken time out of my vacation to come and spend. Don't be super embarrassed, Sean David. I would have taken time out of my vacation to come and help you with your genealogical stuff for at least an afternoon, because I was there for a long time. I was there for a long, like by the end of it, Jeff and I were like, just fucking go home, dude. And I'm just like, I just fucking want to go home. But the other thing is, and this is more of a general thing. Actually, no, there is one other thing. I was watching, I was in my teens, maybe even younger. No, it was definitely younger. There was some World War II movie on. And there were American pilots, American bomber pilots training. And the lead man's up in the cockpit. And he gets on the radio to complain at the bombardier or somebody in the plane about their performance. And he says something to the effect of, "Come on, Sylvie, tighten it up." And I was there with my dad, and I said, "Did you hear that?" And he's, "What?" I said, "They said our name on TV." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And the other thing, the fifth thing is nobody, like messing up my last name it's like a national sport. It's a national pastime. It's like baseball. I have been Silvery, Sylvia, Spivey, Spively, Slivey, Silver, De Silva, which is actually the closest one because Sylvia is an anglicization of De Silva, which my name is originally Spanish. But Sylvie and De Silva mean the same thing. So Spivey is my last name. Sylvia is the type of elf you are. The last name Sylvie means worshippers of Sylvanus, who was a Roman god of the forest. So you're not too far off with Sylvie is the type of elf I am. An offshoot of Sylvan, most likely. Well, you're absolutely right. Do I speak Quenya or Sindarin? No, I don't. My ears aren't even pointy. Look at that. They're not leaf-shaped. They're handle-shaped. Thayan? Did I get it right? So Rich clarifies, Jeremy's a much higher level bard with his musicianship. He can play every instrument a band would ever need. He could make several albums of songs all by himself. I simply have a higher charisma and a visionary foresight and the powers of persuasion. Well, far be it from me to step on that. But hey, we've had enough preamble. We've had enough preamble. It is now. It's 1975. We've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for a full year. Since January, mid-January. Around the college campus, at the local library. Those 3 little books pack in a lot of action. We've even gotten a set of those weird dice. Look at these things. These don't look like dice. If I wanted to wargame, I could just raid my kid sister's Sorry set for a D6 to play something with. Oh, sure, I might need to grab a couple of sets of Yahtzee dice for a go at Risk. Long Bill Sylvie, man, what did I miss? But anyway, but I've gotten the funny dice. I've played the game Xylarthen the Second because I'm not really creative. I just took the name Xylarthen out of that little Reader's Digest sized book that came in that box. John Davis, I would be -3 in 1975. You are not even an itch in your daddy's pants, as they say. Greetings, Dungeon Minister. But while I'm down at the hobby shop contemplating buying some of these figures by this company called Minifigs that are actually supposed to be goblins and kobolds and so on. What do I espy sitting on the shelf? What do I see sitting on the shelf? But this. Greyhawk? Dungeons and Dragons? What's that? Which I have, incidentally, to step back out of our little 1975 LARP, I have owned 4 copies of this. I currently still have 3 of them. One of them was a gift. It's a lizard logo one, but it is in very poor condition. Actually, all of these were a gift. The other was a gift from my D&D group back in the day. And the final one, because I was bemoaning the state of my autographed copy, which is the one that's falling apart, I complain about the guys over at the Akium, but someone over there, for literally, I think, the price of postage, sent me this copy. And according to the inside, it says, as received from Alex Gygax, Rob, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So I don't know if Alex Gygax gave this to the person who sent it to me, but anyway. So let's get back in character. We go to the hobby shop and we pick this up. What could it be? Let's take a look at it and let's see how it's going to expand our game. Let's just open up Adobe Acrobat here and have a gander at what is inside Supplement 1, Greyhawk. And we'll do the usual thing. I'll shrink me down because what's in the book is more important. So that, and let's turn on Acrobat. Bring that over a little bit so you guys can see that. Dungeons and Dragons. Additional rules for fantastic medieval war games, campaigns playable with paper and pencil, and miniature figures. And we have this Greg Bell illustration on the front here. Is it just me, or is his beholder slightly reminiscent of the blasé, disinterested Medusa, who I think Katie hit it out of the park when she said some male adventurer told her to smile, which is why she has that expression on her face. I absolutely love that fighter. He knows he's in trouble. That he's just and here comes the beholder. Beholder is ready to wreck your stuff. So let's take a look. We bring this home eagerly. And we're going to have a look. Well, it's by Gygax and is that a dirty word? No. Kuntz. Gygax and Kuntz, whose name got mentioned in original D&D. Someone's moved up in the company. I had to shell out $5 for this book. It better be good. That's the equivalent of like $35 today, which is about what you would pay for a Splat book. We have this gorgeous, large rendition of the Lizard Man logo that's on some of the D&D books that I already have. Beholder Face is wondering if you want to supersize your meal. Ah, I love it. So there's the Lizard Man logo, also by Greg Bell. Inquiries regarding rules should be accompanied by a stamped returned envelope and sent to Tactical Studies Rules, 542 Sage Street, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, 53147. With special thanks to Alan Lucian, Mike Mornard, and Jeff Key for suggestions. Illustrations by, yes indeed, Greg Bell. Copyright 1975 Tactical Studies Rules, printed in USA. Index: Men in Magic, characters, determination of abilities, non-player characters, levels and number of experience points necessary to attain them, statistics regarding classes. Ooh, that could be interesting. I've always done well in statistics. Guidelines for awarding experience points for monster slaying. Now that's kind of interesting. Our referee awarded points based on how we thought we did on the dungeon level. But now we have some guidelines here. Awarding experience points for non-player characters. Non-player characters can gain levels? Most interesting. And what's this? Alternative combat system? Well, we have an alternative combat system right over here in Men in Magic. But what? Another one? Damage weapon type, damage monster type, spell table, and explanation of spells. Now, this guy didn't come with any reference sheets. I may have to grab a notepad, maybe jot it on the back of some map sheets or something. Monsters and treasure. The monsters, monster descriptions, magical maps determination table, explanation of magic items. More magic items? Could be. The underworld and wilderness adventures, tricks and traps, monstrous tricks and combination monsters, monster level tables. Forward. Now, just to pause for a second, I'm not going to read the entire book verbatim. This is not a let's read, this is a let's play. We're going to see how these mechanics work in C2. We're going to roll some dice. But I would be remiss if I did not read at least some of the forward here. So bear with me. One cannot properly introduce a supplement to an existing body of rules which already contain both a foreword and an introduction, yet it is absolutely necessary to make certain that the prospective buyer understands that this volume cannot stand by itself. It is expressly written to augment the Dungeons & Dragons rule set, and if you do not possess the set, there is no point in buying the supplemental booklet alone. A fair warning to someone who picked this up off the shelf of the hobby shop and said, oh, well, I don't have to buy that expensive box. Oh, yes, I do. However, it does no harm to read further. It is hoped that if you do skim through the pages which will follow, you will become so interested as to buy both D&D and this edition. If you enjoy fantasy, you will never be sorry you were introduced to the swords and sorcery of Dungeons & Dragons games. If you already own a set of D&D, then buy this booklet right now, for what is herein adds immeasurably to the existing game. Gary's got that Carnival Barker thing going down, doesn't he? There are new characters, new abilities, more spells to use, a horde of new monsters, heaps of new magical treasure, and various additions to the suggestions and rules for adventuring above and below ground. God, doesn't that just give you a thrill? Imagine for a year now you've been playing Dungeons & Dragons. Maybe your referee is a little staid. He's been going exactly by the book. It's +1 swords, +2 swords, Helm of Telepathy, cleric's not getting spells till the 2nd level, so on and etc. Now, like a bolt out of the blue, here comes Greyhawk. The material contained herein relates directly to the contents and format of Dungeons & Dragons. The material in Greyhawk is noted so as to distinguish new rules, additions to existing rules, and suggested changes. This material is laid out so that what pertains to men and magic is covered first, then new material pertaining to monsters and treasures dealt with, and finally details of supplementary items for the underworld and wilderness adventure are detailed. Fantasy being what it is, it appears that there will never be an end to the development of fresh ideas, and this booklet is what we hope will be but the first of a long series of periodic supplements to add to your enjoyment of Dungeons & Dragons. There will be at least one more, for Dave Arneson, co-author of the original work, is currently in the catacombs beneath this tower preparing the second supplement. Among other things that this work will reveal to a breathlessly waiting world, many of the horrid things which are part of the Blackmoor campaign, and how to make it just as horrible in your own game. Oh, it's horrible. Meanwhile, find out what the devious minds behind Greyhawk Castle have been dreaming up for the amusement of the participants of that campaigning. E. Gary Gygax, Tactical Studies Rules Editor, 1 February 1975. Now, I just want to put one thing to bed right away. Well, two things, really. First of all, calm down. My comment about the horribleness of Blackmoor is not content related. It is rules related. Second of all, what the devious minds behind Castle Greyhawk had been doing, or Greyhawk Castle had been doing, is not putting Greyhawk lore in this book. If you've been sitting on tenterhooks listening to me talk about how my name is to be said and blowing out people's eardrums with errors and crap from Facebook and so on, I apologize. There is next to no World of Greyhawk material in here. These are things that Gary did when he ran specifically Greyhawk campaigns for the Lake Geneva group. But there's no Greyhawk Castle levels described here. There's no City of Greyhawk levels. There's no kingdom, nothing. We would have to wait 5 years before we got the first World of Greyhawk set, the folio. And then another couple of years before the more extensive boxed set. Other than a few rough sketches in the Gord the Rogue books, Gary himself never created a map of the City of Greyhawk that he shared with us. And of course, as we all know, there is no Castle Greyhawk dungeons out there. You have to think it up yourself. It's what I've done. Anyone who adventures in Castle Greyhawk in my campaign is in something completely of my own creation. So unfortunately, going forward, we've just got additions to OD&D. So what I'm going to do is dust off my note card that I have Xylarthen written down on, for I have moved him to one of those official Dungeons & Dragons record sheets that my referee purchased and so kindly gave me a mimeograph of. One to use. And we're going to look at what if I had had this when I was creating Xylarthen back in January of last year. Characters, addition and changes. There are now 4 main character classes of characters. Main classes of characters. Fighting men, including paladins. Interesting. Magic users, clerics, thieves. Thieves? Thieves and liars, murderers, hypocrites and bastards. Little joke for the Ministry fans out there. Not Ministry like yours, Padre. Never mind. Fighting men. Other character types may engage in hand-to-hand combat, but only true fighting men are able to use their strength and dexterity to utmost advantage in melee. In addition, certain lawful fighters may opt to become paladins. This is all explained later in the section entitled Determination of Abilities. Thieves. All thieves are either neutral or chaotic, although lawful characters may hire them on a one-time basis for missions which are basically lawful. They are not as strong as other classes in hit dice, but thieves have many distinct advantages which are enumerated below. Thieves can employ magic daggers and magic swords, but none of the other magical weaponry. They can wear only leather armor and cannot employ shields. While they cannot learn spells, thieves of the highest level are able to read those spells written on scrolls. Basic abilities are open locks by picking or foiling magical closures, remove small trap devices such as poison needles, listen for noise behind closed doors, move with great stealth, filch items and pickpockets, hide in shadows, strike silently from behind, climb nearly sheer surfaces upwards or downwards. Furthermore, dwarves, elves, half-elves, or hobbits, once again, the folks at TSR playing with fire, may be thieves, and in this class there will be no limit to their continuing to advance to the highest levels. Well, that's very generous. My hobbit fighter that my buddy Bob ran, not my hobbit fighter, my buddy Bob, who ran a hobbit fighter, was limited to 4th level. We all laughed at him when we became lords and ladies and so on. He'll be thrilled. He'll be pleased as punch. Thieves of the 3rd level and above are able to read most, 80% of languages, so treasure maps can be read and understood by them without recourse to a spell. I'm liking this thief class. How about you guys? Thieves of the 10th level and above are able to understand magical writings, so any scroll that falls into their hands can be used by them, excluding spells which are clerical in nature. However, with spells of the 7th level and above, there's a 10% chance that the effect will be the reverse of that intended, due to the fact that even master thieves do not fully comprehend such great magic. This reverse effect can be known only after the spell is read. By striking silently from behind, the thief gains 2 advantages. First, he increases the chance to hit by 20%, +4 on his die. Secondly, he does double damage when he so attacks, with like additional damage for every 4 levels he has attained. Thus, if a thief is of the 4th level attacked from behind, he would do twice the damage indicated by the die. At 5th level through 8th levels, thrice the damage. At 9th through 12th levels, he would do 4 times the damage, and so on. So if you remember when we talked about how to play AD&D, this will be familiar to you. Man, Dungeon Minister. I know Ministry. I was a college radio DJ in the early 90s. Jesus Built My Heart. That is such a great song. The red line, white line version, like that 7-minute cut with all the drag racing samples. What a classic tune that is. Okay, so we go in, we talk about thieves climbing walls. With each higher level of chain, the chance of slipping is reduced by 1%. A 10th level thief has but 4% chance of slipping. Now here, this is interesting, because if at this point you've completely checked out on fantasy, but you're playing this Dungeons and Dragons war game that a referee is running, and you haven't read The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings or any of that, I know just exactly what you're talking about, Dungeon Minister. Yeah. Sitting at the light on East Colonial, 0 dark 30 after working a shipment night at the mall, having to get home, just stomping on the gas. All right. But here we have, if you're not familiar with the races of D&D, now I have read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and The Broken Sword. I picked them up at the bookstore in its fantasy section in Walden Books, in the mall, right next to Florsheim, right across from the Orange Julius, just down from the Curtis Mathis store. is where I bought my fantasy books. So I know that dwarves are about 4 feet tall, stocky of build, weigh 150 pounds, shoulders very broad, their skin a ruddy tan, brown or gray, and of various types, hill, mountain, or burrowers, such as gnomes. Note that gnomes are types of dwarves, explained in Greyhawk. Dwarves with a 17 strength can work up to 7th level fighter, and those of 18 strength can work up to 8th level. Among the dwarves themselves, but never as a player, there are clerical types. Dwarf clerics are found as high as 7th level, Llama, and they can cure and resurrect their own. These clerics are also fighters. Chris says, always loved Gary's take on Thieves. My very first PC was a Thief, and I was amazed years later I read Grey Mouser and Kujal stories at how much influence they had on the class. They really did. They really, 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 really did. If you want to know the hows and whys of the function of the AD&D Thief, treat yourself to some Fritz Leiber, Fafhrd, and Grey Mouser stories. That's how AD&D Thieves work. And it's why I chafe when people say, don't you mean rogue? No, I don't mean rogue. Now, here, Lord Corion says, that makes me like gnomes more as a subrace of dwarves. It's very cool, is it not? Here, for the first time ever, this, again, guys, it's 1975. I'm leafing through this. I'm sitting there in my Volkswagen microbus outside of the Twin Cineplex at the mall. And my mind is being blown because something called multi-class is about to be introduced into our gaming world. Brace yourselves. Dwarves can work simultaneously as fighters and thieves, but no bonus for abilities above the normal are then given, and earned experience is always divided evenly between fighting and thievery, even when the dwarf can no longer progress in the fighter class. When acting as thieves, dwarves can wear only leather armor. In addition, dwarves have infravision and can see monsters up to 60 feet away in the dark. Whoa. Dwarves can be fighters and thieves? Mind blown. Don't run, Coolid. You'll just die tired. Elves. Elves are 5 feet or more in height, slim of build, weigh about 120 pounds. Now, everybody has this picture of the dwarf being like this, guy who's as broad from like back to front as he is from shoulder to shoulder. But I mean, no, dwarf weighs 150 pounds. That's not that heavy. But elves weigh 120 pounds, have tan to fair skin, and are various types. Wood elves, high elves, meadow elves, fairies. Wood elves being the darkest. Elves of 17 or 18 strength can work up to high as 5th level swashbuckler and 6th level myrmidon fighters respectively. Elves with an 18 intelligence can work up to 9th level sorcerer magic users. Among the elves, there are clerical types as high as 6th level bishop who interact only with their own kind. These clerics, fighter, magic user, cleric types, have magical ability limited to the 6th level, magician. Elven thieves work in all three categories at once, fighter, magic user, thief, unless they opt to be never anything other than in the thief category. So bam, we're getting hit again. And another one. We're getting hit again with multi-classing. This is blowing my mind. Hobbits, another Hobbit reference, guys. Is it in the print one, or is it just some manky scan I've got? Let's see, we're on page 7. Tisk tisk, Tolkien Estate. Y'all were asleep at the switch. Let's see. Yep, right there on page 5. Refers to them as hobbits. Anything in there about dwarves speaking in an affected Scottish accent, I didn't think. Yeah, no, we got to kind of lay that at the feet of John Rhys Davies. My dwarves all sounded like Hans Conried from The Hobbit. Like, when I thought of dwarves' voices, it was these twee, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Don't at me. English voices, sort of pinched and high pitched. But I never like the Scottish brogue dwarf didn't. I mean, John Rhys Davies is to blame for that, but I don't. It's okay for Gimli. Every gosh darn player sits down at my table and says, I'm Stumpy Toe Redbeard and I'm a Scottish dwarf. Arr. You know, I'm just like, oh, come on. Just do something different with your dwarf. How about a softly spoken dwarf? A very considerate, mild, even-tempered dwarf. Could we have that? Anyway, moving on. So hobbits can be fighters or thieves, and as thieves, they have better chances for doing most things. See statistics regarding classes, and are not limited as to how elves, how high in levels. Sorry, my eyes just dropped down. They can progress. Half elves are half elven and half human. Now, again, I've read The Lord of the Rings. This is just like Elrond. I would love to go to Walden Books and get my own copy. Me too, Vinny. Me too. I wouldn't think this would be a mass market thing, though. I would still think that by 75, it'd be mail order or hobby stores only. So we can play half-elves now. Half-elven and half-human, and gain some abilities from each heritage. Half-elves are able to progress simultaneously in both fighter and magic user classes. Again, multi-classing. And may use both weaponry and spells and otherwise act as elves do. However, they may work up to 6th level Myrmidon in the fighting class and the 6th level Magician in the magic using category. Half-elves of exceptional strength, 17 and 18, may progress as high as champion and superhero, 7th and 8th level respectively. Those of exceptional intelligence, 17 and 18, may work up to 7th and 8th level enchanter and warlock, magic user respectively. They spot secret and hidden doors as do elves, but they do not gain any advantage when fighting certain monsters as do elves. They all speak the language as elves do. There are no half-elf clerics, for in this regard, their human side prevails. However, half-elves with a basic wisdom score of 13 or more may also become clerics. If they so opt, all experience will be divided in equal proportion between fighting magic user and clericism. Half-elves may work up to the 4th level vicar clerically. Note that half-elves may not themselves act chaotically, nor may they associate with chaotic characters or creatures. Ricky Morrow says, I am all of those things, Sir Bill. Sir Avar Age is just a pyro. Ha! My dwarves are all accented as if they're from Appalachia. Right on. So my dwarves sound like the Grinch or Captain Hook. Yes. Yes, they do. So we have some character alignment introductions here. Now, there's a note about chaotic alignment. I think this is where Gary was definitely starting to go towards broadening alignment. And look, if you're one of those people that hates alignment, don't at me, okay? I like alignment in D&D. People say, would you put alignment in Twilight 2000? Well, no, I wouldn't. That's dumb. Don't ask dumb questions. I wouldn't put alignment in Star Wars, the role-playing game, although light side and dark side of the Force, you very easily say good and evil right there, right? But in Dungeons & Dragons, it works fine. I mean, would you play a game where, like, would you play Acquisition, the Avalon Hill board game, and insist that a top hat could buy a railroad? Well, no, but they can in Monopoly. So we move on. So let's talk about alignment a little bit, as shown in this Greyhawk book. Chaotic alignment. by a player generally betokens chaotic action on the player's part without any rule to stress this aspect, i.e. a chaotic player is usually more prone to stab even his lawless buddy in the back for some desired gain. However, chaos is just that, chaotic. Evil monsters are as likely to turn on their supposed confederates in order to have all the loot as they are to attack a lawful party in the first place. While there is no rule to apply to groups of chaotic players operating in concert, referees are urged to formulate some rules against continuing cooperation as fits their particular situation, but consideration for concerted actions against chaotic players by lawful ones should be given. I wonder if at this point, as I sit there sipping my Orange Julius, reading this, getting ready to go spend some money in Aladdin's castle, I wonder if already Gary wasn't starting to sour on the idea of all evil parties. It's not D&D without alignment. Exactly. The Dungeon Minister says, I want to hear one of those dwarves. If you've seen The Hobbit, the Rankin Bass 1978 Hobbit, Hans Conried voices Thorin Oakenshield. That is my prototype dwarven voice. And there's a lot of other great voice character actors and voice actors doing, Nori, Dory, Ori, Biffer, Bomber, Owen and Glowin. Nori, Dory, Ori, Biffer, Bomber, Owen, Glowin. And I cannot remember the other 5. Sorry. But yeah, I wonder if Gary wasn't starting to sour on the idea of evil players. I mean, the cleric was introduced to deal with, I think it was Mike Mornard. I could be wrong about this, but I believe it was Mike Mornard playing Sir Fang, a character who got bit by and turned into a vampire, but they then killed the vampire, and he wanted to run a vampire character. Which is fine, but he then started doing vampire-y stuff to the other players and started running contra to the desires of the party. But he had charmed other players and created many thralls, so they introduced the cleric class to go and deal with him. So we have strength as normal here. This is more or less following the OD&D rules. I don't feel compelled to get a magic marker or a ballpoint pen and start scribbling stuff into my OD&D books yet here as I read this. But then we come to this. 18, double asterisk. Okay, what's the footnote here? Fighters with a strength score of 18 are entitled to make an additional roll with percentile dice in order to determine if their exceptional strength is highly extraordinary, consulting the table below. Well, let's just see if Xylarthen has an extraordinary strength. We're gonna start building Xylarthen the Third. Xylarthen the Second's a lord. His son, Xylarthen the Third, is born. So strength, so close, so close. You know what? I got a 16 on 3d6. Pretty dang good. Let's say it's an 18, just for the sake of seeing what our percentile strength would be. Hey, the referee is not here to tell us we can't. So Xylarthen, had he an actual 18 strength, Xylarthen the Third, had he an actual 18 strength, would have 1870. Well, what does 1870 grant us? +3 to hit and +3 damage, plus 600 coins weight, opens doors on a 1 through 5. No more feebly beating at Castle Greyhawk dungeon doors. for Xylarthen the Third. Intelligence. Now we have a percentage chance to know any given spell. Now magic users have a little bit of guidance. Perhaps we'll go back into OD&D and create a magic user, because OD&D magic users are not bound by the same strictures that AD&D magic users are. It is simply assumed you have all the first level spells at first level. So what is the intelligence? So if we roll intelligence, 10, 50% chance to know any given spell. It's not given that I will know all of those first level spells. I think there's 8 first level spells in original D&D. I know the first one. I don't know the second one. I know the third one. I know the fourth one with a vengeance. I rolled an 08. I don't know the fifth one. I know the sixth one. And the seventh. And the 8th. So there's 2 spells in that list that I just don't know. Only magic users above 11 intelligence are able to employ 6 level spells. So were I rolling up a magic user right now, or someone who is angling towards being a magic user, I would be limited to 1st through 5th level spells. No wish. No alter reality. Dexterity affects both the ability of characters to act, react, and fire missiles. It is also the prime requisite for thieves. Fighters with a dexterity of greater than 14 can use their unusual manual dexterity to attempt to dodge or parry opponents' attacks. Now that was changed to strength in AD&D. For every point over 14, they're able to reduce their opponent's chances of hitting them by 1. Thieves use dexterity in the pursuit of their chosen profession. They may use 2 points of intelligence and 1 point of wisdom to increase their raw dexterity score, so long as they do not thereby bring the intelligence and wisdom scores below average. Wisdom acts as an experience booster for clerics, serving in no way to help them in either learning or knowing spells. Boy, did that change in AD&D. Huh? You get that cleric with an 18 wisdom, and he's just like a walking healing dispenser from Team Fortress 2. All cleric spells are considered as divinely given, and as such, clerics with a wisdom factor of 3 would know all of the spells as well as would a cleric with an 18 wisdom factor. Charisma scores of 17 or greater by fighters indicate the possibility of paladin status. Now we're to that paladin thing. Or it's not paladin, by the way, guys. If they are lawful from the commencement of play for that character. If such fighters elect to, they can then become paladins, always doing lawful deeds. For any chaotic act will immediately revoke the status of paladin, and it can never be regained. The paladin has a number of very powerful aids in his continual seeking for good. He can lay on his hands to cure wounds or diseases in others, 2 points of damage for every level that the paladin has attained, 1 disease per 5 levels. Either function performable but once per day. So paladins can cure disease on a daily basis. I believe that was changed to weekly for AD&D. Kyle chimes in. Dex, really, that was changed to everyone being able to do it. AC bonus for Dex. Good point. Good point, Kyle. It is different from the parry or dodge of strength in AD&D, whereas that is a given action. You can't attack and parry in the same round. Paladins with any form of holy sword are virtually immune to all magic. When you're rolling 3d6, it's rare enough. Does Xylarthen the Third have what it takes to be a paladin? 17 or better charisma? I see a 5. I see a 4 and a 2. No. He is above average charisma, but he's not that above average. The paladin may at any time he chooses obtain a horse, which is likewise gifted, but he may never obtain a second within 10 years of the first, so if one is killed, it is not automatically replaced. The paladin's horse is a heavy with armor class 5, moves 18 inches, has 5+1 hit dice, and high intelligence. I'm picturing the horse from Tangled. Paladins will never be allowed to possess more than 4 magical items, excluding the armor, shield, and up to 4 weapons they normally use. They will give away all treasure that they win, save for that which is necessary to maintain themselves, their men, and a modest castle. Gifts must be to the poor or to a charitable or religious institution, i.e. not to some other character played in the game. Say, Dungeon Minister, hang on to this 5,000 gold pieces for me, would you? Oh, I seem to be a little like Dungeon Minister. I tithed you quite a bit. Do you cover this? No, you don't get to do that. Chris says, Cure Disease, one of the most underappreciated abilities in AD&D. People ignore it and then wonder why Gary included rules for contracting disease in the Dungeon Master's Guide. That's right. I make a lot of joke about, AD&D is the game where you can take a character from a young age up to the point where they can slay a dragon, and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is the game where you can take a character from a young age and then they die of typhus 2 weeks later. If your Dungeon Master's doing it right, there's a similar chance that could happen to you in AD&D. Oh! Spin it on you investments. I thought you looked a little... dressed to the nines a little too much. You got that air-conditioned doghouse, didn't you? All right. A paladin stronghold cannot be above 200,000 gold pieces in total cost, and no more than 200 men can be retained to guard it. Paladins normally prefer to dwell with lawful princes or patriarchs, but circumstances may prevent this. They may only associate with lawful characters. Only associate with lawful characters. Right from the get-go, the paladin is a hard row to hoe, as it should be. Let me tell you something. I've talked about this before. I talked about it back when we did the how to play. Look, I'm not going to come to your house and tell you how to run your AD&D game unless you say, Bill, come to my house and teach me how to run an AD&D game. But if you're one of those people that, like, out of the gate, you're conferring with the DM, I want to make the paladin fall. How do we make the paladin fall? And the DM's like, I'll help you make the paladin fall. Man, screw you guys. I mean, if the player's a dick and has it coming, that's one thing. But just, like, making that your hobby is just up yours, man. So we have bonus and penalties due to abilities. Now we delve into the importance of Constitution. You have negative hit die bonuses, probability of resurrection survival, probability of surviving spells, polymorph stone, etc. This is all very interesting. So now looking back at Xylarthen, let me see if I can find that card. All very good points. Let me see if I can find Xylarthen. Xylarthen the Second. So a strength of 12 is nothing extraordinary, nor is wisdom or intelligence. Remember, he's a fighting man. Dexterity is not helping. Extra crispy. How to make the paladin fall? Trip him or her. Well, I mean, that's on the face of it. That's just exactly how that works. By the way, Extra Crispy has 30 levels in air conditioning repair, and I am forever in your debt. I'm not forever in Del Air's debt, though. Don't go telling their accounting department to send me another bill. But our Constitution, 13, well, what does that give us? No hit die bonuses, 85% chance probability of resurrection survival, 90% probability of surviving polymorph or stone spells or what have you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, look over there, bro. It's a prank. Right there's the camera. We got you. Oh, wait, no, bro, you're a paladin. Oh, crap. Stab. Note that your Constitution score is also the number of times you may be resurrected. This, of course, excludes wishing and other means to revitalize your body without recourse to a resurrection spell. Payable monthly installments of 19.99 gold pieces. I love it. So that's 19 gold pieces. 19 gold pieces, 19 silver, and 199 copper. I think is how that would work. Now there's no word on charisma other than how it affects whether or not you can be a paladin. But let's go on. We're only on page 8. We're an hour and 12 minutes into this live stream tonight, guys. We may have to break this Greyhawk supplement in half. Boy, I hope our referee lets us use this supplement at the table. I don't even know if he has a copy yet. I might have to mimeograph this down at the university. So let's see. Non-player characters edition. Loyalty of non-player characters. All retainers in the service of chaotic characters, including monsters, have lower loyalty scores. As a rule of thumb, subtract -2 on all loyalty scores, and chaotic retainers can never have a loyalty of above 15. Womp womp. Levels and number of experience points necessary to attain them. Addition. Thieves. We have thief levels. Once again, the thief in OD&D, this new thief class, much lower levels. Apprentice starts at 0 like everybody. Footpad, 1,200 experience points. Robber, 2,400. 4,800, 9,600. 20,000, 40,000, 60,000, 90,000, and then 125,000. Plus 125,000 points for each level above Master Thief. Alternate hit. Oh, this is the interesting thing. Whoa, look at this. We're not just using D6s for determining hit points anymore, guys. Fighters using, wait, the 8-sided die? That thing I just spin when I'm sitting down at the end of the table and it's not my turn? I use that to determine my fighter's hit. Well, let's check and see if Xylarthen would have done better. Xylarthen the Second. 8! Xylarthen would have started life with 8 hit points. Not 4. He could have stayed in the fight a little bit longer. Magic users, though, magic users get shafted. They get only 4. Oof. Magic user we hypothesized about only starts with 1 hit point. Clerics use a normal hit die. They just still use a D6. But this thief class, they use 4-siders also. Our potential new thief only has 1 as well. But now, instead of starting with 1+1 hit die, and then 1+2 at 5th level and so on, we just roll those all the way through till we get to maximum number of hit dice or level of 9, 11, 8, and 10 respectively. And after that, we add points per level thereafter. Note that clerics and thieves only get a hit point every other level after that. Since instead of additional dice, extra hit points are added, there will be no accumulations of bonuses for high constitution scores after the maximum number of dice has been reached. Thus, a fighter with an 18 constitution will get an 8-sided die plus 3 per level until he has reached 11th level, and thereafter will gain but plus 2. Use of this system is highly recommended. I am going to make sure my referee reads that part. Absolutely. You know what? I'll buy him some of those sesame sticks and an orange Julius and take him to him tonight. But if it is used, all monsters should be based on the 8-sided die system. Dragons to get the additional 2 points at the 2 oldest ages. Thus, a kobold would get 1 to 4 hit points. And we have levels beyond for spellcasters. Look at this. Wizards can now go up to 22nd level and have 11 plus 11 hit dice plus 11 hit points. Yow! That's crazy. This book is off the hook. I'm loving this new Supplement 1 Greyhawk, and there's going to be more? Wow! And Cleric's 20th level. Plus 6 hit points. Look at all the spells they can cast. We have Thieves and their fighting ability, no spell ability, but it did say we could use scrolls after 9th level. Ricky Murray says, I do really prefer OD&D. Starting to feel an itch there now, Ricky? Oh, what's this? Look at this table, guys. This is all the stuff a thief can do. Open locks and remove traps. For each level, hear noise. No, hear noise is not a percentage. Well, it is technically a percentage, but it is based on a d6, not on percentile dice. Bonuses to elves, dwarves, and hobbits as thieves. Hobbits are good at opening locks, removing traps, picking pockets, moving silently, hiding in shadows, and hearing noise. Dwarf and elf thieves kind of balance out. DM bribes, the greatest side hustle in D&D. You can do anything when you show up with a box of Oreos. Kyle, tell them about the importance of snacks, please. Put it in the chat. I will pin it. Magic user tops out at potential 44 hit points at 11th level, at 56 hit points at 9th. Fighter, 56 hit points at 9th. Averages 27.5 versus 40.5. Not so different. I mean, I know which class I'd rather be playing if I was going to get breathed on by an adult red dragon. But I definitely see where you're coming from. Oh, look at that were-rat. Look at that drawing. That's so cool. Not only is this book full of cool information, but we're getting cool artwork. No penalties, Joshua. There are no penalties here. Now we're going to go for about 10 more minutes here. I want to read this section. We're coming back. We're our next let's play or let's read people, snacks, setting system in that order. Right on. And don't bring weird snacks. Don't bring kale chips. Don't bring weird Korean. Don't bring natto. If you know Asian food, you know what I'm talking. Don't bring natto to the game, okay? Just don't do it unless you hate everyone there and you want that to be the last game. The awarding of experience points is a matter of discussion. Is often a matter of discussion. For the referee must make subjective adjustments rather than the ridiculous 100 points per level for slain monsters. Use the table below, dividing experience equally among all characters in the party involved. And look at that, guys. Wow, I wonder if the referee is going to switch to this system. It seems pretty logical. I would. Monsters hit dice, a base value, and then special abilities. No, ketchup chips are okay. Ketchup chips are fine. But John David is swinging for the fence with pizza, wings, and beer. If the monsters hit dice are +2 or +3, it then must be classed as the next higher step, i.e. 2 + 2 equals a 3 hit die monster. Monsters which can regenerate, hurl missiles, have touch which paralyzes, poison, and so on. Monsters with exceptional special abilities should be either treated as a higher class that is represented by their hit dice, or a double bonus for their abilities should be awarded when they are slain. For example, a Gorgon is a monster with a special ability and worse to encounter than its 8 hit die indicate. Double points in the special column are in order when awarding experience points for killing one, i.e. base 650 + 2 times 550. 1,700. Oh, I think there need to be brackets there. We get a little PEMDAS. Not 650 + 2 times 550. Equals 1,750 for killing a Gorgon. And hummus is cool too. Gygax wrote about time. You cannot have a meaningful campaign if snacks are not brought. Gosh darn right, Kyle. The barbarian that kept bringing the scotch always got the pick of the magic items. No one complained either. Which doesn't, I mean, that kind of doesn't make any sense because barbarians, well, I don't know what system you were playing. I don't know what, and let's be honest, a barbarian can just be a Conan-like fighter, right? It doesn't have to be the, must destroy magic items, can yell and summon a horde, etc., etc. Sorry, that tangle caught my thumb. Awarding experience to non-player characters change. It is absolutely mandatory that experience for non-player characters be computed, bonuses added, and then the whole reduced by 50%. This represents the fact that they are in the higher of some characters, and because of this capacity, not as prone to benefit from experience. Note, however, that any skimping on their share of the treasure will naturally have a highly adverse effect on their loyalty to the character. For those who, and the alternative combat system, oh boy. For those who wish to include weapons types in the determination of hit probabilities, the following matrix drawn from the hand-to-hand combat section of Chainmail is offered, and it's rejected. I'll show it to my referee anyway, but I don't think he'll like this. If this system is used, it is suggested that the separate damage by weapon type and monster type also be employed. Treat thieves as clerics for purposes of advance in steps, 4 levels / group, 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, etc. Like I said, one day we're going to do Let's Play Chainmail. This is not that day. Hulk is smashed. So we have weapon type versus armor type, armor class. This all funnels in to chainmail, and like I said, we're gonna have a talk about chainmail one day. Black Pudding about to eat one of Kevin Bell's fighters there. And again, that's chainmail related. Now, my mind, not having been reset from being blown earlier with characters that can be 2 classes and strength that adds percentile dice and this new thing called a thief and this new thing called a paladin, just in case Gary Gygax and this Rob Kuntz guy were not completely done blowing my mind, here we have damage done by weapon type. If varying amounts of damage according to weapon type use is employed, the various monsters will likewise be subject to receive additional points of damage or dice of damage. See attacks and damage by monster type. So now my sword, which I was slaying orcs with left, right, and center, or my dagger even, is not going to do the job. Now, if I want to be sure to cut him down, I got to use a two-handed sword, but then I don't get to use my shield. So there's a whole range now of dice. I got to use all these dice. I can't just show up with one of these golf ball looking guys, the 20-sider, and a 6-sider. I gotta bring a 4-sider if I'm gonna use a dagger, and I gotta bring D6s anyway, and now I gotta bring an 8 for if the referee bumps off my character, and if I get an extraordinary strength, I gotta bring these 10-siders. About the only one I don't need is that 12 over there. Good Lord, I'm gonna have to get a bag or something to keep my dice in. That little pill bottle, that little Anison bottle is filling up. Weapons versus armor class, that's right. Puny God. Magic armor effects on armor class. Look at that. Armor +5? That's crazy. Pretty sure I'd use a spear. Greetings, Volcano God. Adjust accordingly for types of armor not indicated when shield value is above that of armor. Attacks from the right and or rear consider armor only when 2 or more opponents attack. Look at that. There's a positioning table. A Crown Royal bag. You talking about those felt bags that they throw out behind the liquor store in the mall parking lot? Put dice in there. Huh. I suppose I could do that. No, you can dual wield shields, Viking Hat, Kyle. You can dual wield shields. It's just you're the ultimate defended character. You're just crouched behind your shields with the bill of your metal cap lying there, just shouting maledictions at the enemy. Come on, you can't reach me. Clink, 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 clink. Purple ones. I'll have to look for those. See, I'm getting in character of the whole it's 1975 and I've only been playing Dungeons and Dragons for a few years thing. So we're starting to get into attacks and damage by monster types here. And we're all the way on page 13. We're not even a good quarter of the way through this Supplement 1 Greyhawk book, and I've been going on here on the public access television station for a good 90 minutes now. So I think we're going to kind of reel it in a little bit. Tomorrow, excuse me, but if Tyrion Lannister can kill a man with a shield, I can kill 2 men with 2 shields. That is the most actually comment I have ever seen in the comment section. Bravo to my co-host Kyle. Actually, that is hilarious, dude. So what are we going to do? Tomorrow is going to be kind of open. If you guys want... Now, we're going to continue on with Supplement 1 Greyhawk. We have a lot of Greyhawk yet to go. Is there a reference to Jim Ward in here somewhere? Yes, there is. We've had Jim on the show, and I've talked to Jim about I've talked to Jim before about the story of it. Do you guys want to hear the Jim Ward story now, or when we go through more of this, or do you want to wait until someday when I have Jim Ward on the show again? You guys let me know. I don't know. A little squeaky. Well, you see, people are helping out the show on Patreon, so, I can afford things like a can of WD-40. I'm just kidding. I have WD-40. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you guys tell me if you want to wrap up with that. But while you're deciding whether or not you guys want to hear the Jim Ward story tonight before we wrap, I would like to take a minute. I'm going to go over here. We're going to do this here. I'm going to turn that off there. I want to put up I want to thank wrong window. I want to thank Ricky Maru, 8 Mobius 8, Kevin Reynolds, Joseph Lucas, John David, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien X247, and James F. Keck. They are my Patreons. They have all contributed to the Patreon. Thank you so very, very much, guys. I really appreciate it. If you wish to participate, if you wish to contribute to the Patreon, you can just go there for as little $1 a month. You can help out. You can help me get studio lights that work. You can help me get WD-40 for the boom mic. You can help me get a chair that isn't slowly paralyzing me. This is 2 stacked event chairs, and it's awful. But no, regardless of whether you participate in the Patreon or not, I do appreciate it. Oops. Let me just, hang on a second. There we go. Lord Corion. My apologies. Lord Corion is on that list too. So again, you'll always get this live stream for free, guys. Okay. You always get little videos. I'm going to start doing shorts again. Those are always going to be free. But if you wanted to throw in, that would be awesome. And I could certainly appreciate it. Hireling Henchman, Player, and GMPC. But yes, thank you very much to my Patreons. I absolutely appreciate it. So Viking Hat says, wait till Jim's on. Wait. John David wants to hear it. The balance seems to say wait till I get Jim on again and have him tell the story. Okay. I will split the difference with you guys. I will not tell you the story of why it is, but I will tell you that Jim Ward's name is in Supplement 1 Greyhawk, and I will read you the description of what it is. And I'm going to let Jim, let me see if I can find this here. Okay, so Again, letting Jim tell the story as to why this is, and you guys might be able to figure out why it is yourselves. Meteor Swarm. This is 9th level. This is page 23. A blast of 4 fireballs. Jim. Thrown in whatever pattern the caster desires, each of 10 to 60 points of damage, or 8 fireballs. Jim. Of 1/2 normal diameter and 5 to 30 points of damage may likewise be thrown. Range 24 inches. So that is, yes, that is a reference to Jim Ward. So Jim will tell the story of why his name is so very specifically mentioned in Supplement 1. The next time we have him on, we're going to do that. We're going to have Jim on again. I'll reach out to him. But if you missed it, if you weren't here in the first half of the show, as we wrap things up, so my buddies, the guys who provide the music, Jim has a power in MA due to Gary. That's right. Metamorphosis Alpha. The guys at Bards of Greyhawk who provide the music for the opening credits have a video coming out soon featuring Alan Hammock. It's for their Ghost Tower of Inverness. Is it, Rich, if you're out there? I believe. When they're ready to roll, when they get that video put together, yes, the video for their song about Ghost Tower of Inverness, we will have a world premiere viewing party right here on this channel. I'll have Alan, I'll have Rich, and I will have Jeremy from Bards of Greyhawk on. We'll watch the video. We'll talk to Rich and Alan and Jeremy about music, about Dungeons and Dragons and everything. So they're going to give me the dates as to when that's going to happen, but that is going to happen. So tomorrow night, we are going to have a kind of an open night, but I'm going to keep going on Greyhawk. If you guys want, Monday we'll definitely talk more about Supplement 1 Greyhawk. Monday's show will be on earlier, and it will definitely be shorter than this one. Just FYI. So that's what I got for you this evening, guys. Listen, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my Patreons. I want to thank just everybody who shows up for the show. Again, I have had more eyes on my live streams this week, I think, than I had on any one given show entirely at all last year. And that makes me so happy. We're up to 851 subs on the YouTube channel. And if you don't know what that means we are 149 subs away from having the great underground online gaming convention. Kyle's going to be running stuff. I'm going to be running stuff. Lots of people are going to be running games. It's your chance to participate and play some OD&D, some AD&D, Gamma World, Twilight 2000, Tales from the Loop, Conflict, Fight in the Skies, Dungeon, Hero Quest, all sorts of things, all on a weekend once we hit 1,000 subs. No, you rock, John David. You rock. You, Lord Corion, Viking Hat GM, Extra Crispy, just everybody. You're all so awesome, and I appreciate you being here for me to give me to keep me doing this stuff. I mean, I've said before, and I mean this, if there was one person out there who said, please stream for me, I'd do it. But I'm glad that there's more people out there watching and listening. That is very cool. And when we kick over 1,000, you're going to see some serious shit, because then we break open the YouTube algorithm. Then they got to pay attention to us. Hey, you want to run some Cinnabar, Kyle? The table space is yours, my friend. The table space is yours. But anyway, that does it for me for tonight. Thank you all. I love you all. You're awesome. You're great. You're what makes this fun. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you all